Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the Colima Natural Processed Costa Rica from April Coffee Roasters. And there's the bag right there. And April, based out of Copenhagen, Denmark. This coffee right here was featured in a recent blind taste test rankings video, where it finished first place out of 3 April coffees on that day. Now, the reason I finished first on that day was it had this really nice fruit sweetness, and we're big fans of fruit sweetness when it comes to coffee. But with that being said, one thing I really wanted to comment on this year was natural coffee seemed to have had a slight bit of a down year, as so many people have gone the direction of the alcoholic berry. So as a result, we haven't enjoyed the natural coffees as much as we have maybe in years past. So we were curious to see if this one might carry its consistency from the blind taste test to still remaining our favorite coffee by the end of drinking all 3 of these coffees. This right here is day 37 of this coffee. And recipe we have for April is from their brew guide on their website. It is a 16.671 water to coffee ratio at 205 degrees Fahrenheit, brewed through the Chemex. They are a light Nordic for the roast profile. And let's start discussing the coffee itself. All right, so day 29, which was the blind taste test day, and we had a pretty positive first impression, as the thing we were most getting was probably this really nice sugary component, complemented by some deep tropical fruit, and the flavor we could most closely align this with was some citrus flavor, most notably possibly a pineapple. So that's what we were getting. Thought it was a pretty lovely first impression, and then our second impression, going back day 32, still a pretty positive impression. Would most closely identify the fruit component in this cup as some uncooked fleshy fruits, and it was most reminiscent of the Equator coffee that we reviewed earlier this year, which we kind of described as a artificial stone fruit, most notably a mango, with this kind of desserty sweetness to it, and that was quite enjoyable in that cup. That was the best part of that cup, and it was quite enjoyable on this day as well. We thought that the fruits in this cup are actually really well balanced, especially for being a natural, as it's not too skewed in one specific direction, and that made it very enjoyable on day 32. Day 33, the coffee at this point then reminded me a little bit of the natural processed Uganda from Black and White. So we were getting some different things from this coffee on different days, as at this time, the tropical fruit most closely resembled what we described on that day as banana runts. So this chocolatey banana runts flavor to it, and that's what we were getting in this cup as well. So it was taking the best part of the natural processed Uganda that we'd enjoy from that coffee. There were some other things to it, darker sugar sweetness, still pretty good cup. Day 35, we tried the pre-ground method again, as we ground the coffee 6 hours before we actually brewed it, put it in an air-sealed container. And at this time, we were getting a little bit different of a cup. This one was a little bit more reminiscent of a sweet strawberry candy. And at this time, it reminded us again of the, this one actually reminded us of the Hakote from JBC, which was a natural processed Costa Rica as well. So this coffee at different times reminded us of 3 other different coffees, just in a lighter, more acidic coffee profile. Other than that, yeah, not too much else worth noting on day 35. All right, let's go ahead and put up the tasting wheel so you can see what we're getting. And again, it must be noted, consistency in these tasting wheels from April's coffees, as the finish is again at level 4 and the acidity is at level 4. Real quick on the acidity, it could have gone to a 3.5 because this was the least acidic of the 3 April coffees we've reviewed. So 3.5, but we felt more comfortable with it as a 4 because this coffee as a whole is more acidic than most of the coffees that we do drink on the channel. Sweetness level 4. Yeah, that one, this is by far the sweetest of the 3 coffees that we had, so that one definitely seems warranted and justified. But the thing we must discuss the most is the fruits, as we have the berry fruit at a level 4, because on the day we made this tasting wheel specifically, the berry fruits, most notably a strawberry and a red raspberry, were the most prominent things in the cup. The citrus fruit, that was the most consistent fruit we were experiencing in this cup. That one definitely warrants a level 4. And the stone fruit, on other days, it could have been level 4, most specifically day 32, when we were getting a lot of the mango component in this cup. But level 3 felt pretty good on this day. As we mentioned earlier on, the balance in the fruit component in this cup of coffee was really nice. I think it was excellent done for a natural processed coffee, so kudos to April for that. Chocolate, level 3, honestly could have pushed that one up to a level 4. It was like a 3.5 and felt a little strange putting it at a level 3, but we'll leave it there. Smokiness also at a level 2, could have pushed that one to a level 3, just felt more comfortable with both of those at a slightly lower level. Body level 3, yeah, it had a little bit more body than the other cups. And cleanliness level 2, not surprising, it is a natural processed Costa Rica. All right, overall thoughts and impressions of this coffee. So this one started as our favorite coffee from April, and this one ended as our favorite coffee from April. And we would say that the Ethiopian ended up being our second favorite coffee, and the Kenyan, unsurprisingly, became our least favorite coffee, as we're typically not the biggest fans of Kenyan coffees. But really wanted to say that I think they did an excellent job of this natural, as natural definitely had a down year in terms of coffee in our experience. So having something that does a better job of bringing out the best parts of other coffees. As mentioned, there were 3 other coffees I felt this one was similar to, but it brought out all the best parts of those coffees in this cup of coffee. So I think that this one was pretty well done, on the higher end of the naturals that we have had this year, with, again, that kind of acidic component to it as well. So that kind of wraps up our overall experience with that. But our overall experience with April, we'd say that it was positive. For the most part, we did enjoy the 3 cups of coffee, but it wasn't anything that was necessarily world-changing. It probably finishes somewhere in the middle of the pack when it comes to these Nordic coffees that we have experienced in the past. So we'll probably try some more April coffees in the future, especially if it does become more readily available to us. But that being said, it wasn't anything that we would necessarily feel worth going out of our way for us specifically. Probably has a lot to do with the fact that they're more acidic coffees, and we don't necessarily love the acidity in their coffee. Type of person we would suggest this coffee to is definitely, and this, again, for the 3rd time in a row, feels like a little bit of a cop-out, but somebody that does enjoy their natural coffees, as we thought the fruit flavors in this cup of coffee were excellent. Lighter, profiled, fruity components in this cup of coffee specifically, with, again, a high acidity. This one seems like a pretty good fit. As mentioned, this was the most enjoyable of the 3 cups of coffee that we had. Consistent in the sense that it was most enjoyable. Least consistent of the cups of coffee, given that we were getting quite a bit of changing fruits from time to time, but the complexity is always fun. So people that do it like their slightly more complex natural cups of coffee, this one definitely has that. And I think thinking in this theme overall, in terms of April's coffees, they're probably just a little bit more complex. As you can see by the tasting wheel, they have a little bit more to them, and they do change. You get just a little bit more variety in these cups of coffee, as opposed to something that is a little bit more developed, most notably the JBC Hakote. I think we're going to leave it at that, though. If you by chance tried this coffee or any of the April coffees that we've mentioned in these last couple of reviews, would love to know your thoughts and impressions of that, as well as if you have any additional thoughts on April as well. If you're enjoying the content, give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a review of the Colima Natural Processed Costa Rica from April Coffee Roasters. Thank you for watching.